Up here. All right, we want to thank y'all for being here. This is our fourth meeting, believe it or not. So budget is taking place, and this is the budget sub-review on personnel, public retirements, and finance. We had a few more questions for some of the presenters today, so we are glad y'all are here. And let's see. This is good. Mr. Secretary, please call roll of all four of us here.
There's so.
Before somebody leaves.
Yeah, before we lose a quorum.
Me? Yes, here.
Yes. Representative Jackson.
Present.
Representative Lockett.
Present.
Representative Bowling. Representative Bray. Representative Petrie. Chair Thomas.
Present. All right. So at this time, we have minutes from our last meeting. I'd ask for a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
And if no objections, we approve the minutes. And let's see, we are going to start with Tina Howard, Executive Director, and I believe Terry Denny, if y'all want to come up. While y'all are coming up, I want to take chairman privilege of introducing John Bruce, one of our magistrates in Christian County, a longtime one, and we appreciate what you do, and glad to have you here. I didn't know you were up. So, all right, y'all take the table there.
Make sure you have the right green light.
And if you don't mind, we're going to get started by if y'all would raise your right hand and repeat after me. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Awesome. Thank you. Y'all have been here before, so make sure that green light is really bright and kind of keep it close to you. And what we're going to talk about on the generators. So it was kind of vague on what it was, so we were just kind of trying to ask for a little bit more information. So the floor is y'all's. Please introduce yourself for the record, too.
Thank you. So my name's Scott Baker. I'm in for Terry Denny today, and I'll be speaking to the generator issue, the generator question. So the governor's budget included a $60 million allocation for finance. $30 million of that was dedicated to general maintenance pool. From that pool, the finance, we were recommending $7.5 million investment to address life cycle replacement and capacity enhancements for our generator systems that are critical to the continuity of government. The cabinet currently we have 26 generators that support our buildings across the Frankfort area. Those buildings provide essential administrative, financial, and mostly public-facing services. So this recommendation would fund the condition-based evaluation of all those systems, identify the reliability and capacity risk, kind of establish a priority replacement strategy, replace the ones that were of the most critical need, and also we would assess each facility for full total capacity to see that if we needed to enhance the capacity on some of those systems so that in a catastrophic failure, we could continue with government services in those particular buildings. So that's really what this request is for.
I'm sorry. So saying lightheartedly, if we have a catastrophe and we don't replace the generators, then that's our version of Kentucky shutdown?
That's right.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Did either y'all, please, can you introduce yourself at least for the record, and then we probably have a few questions.
Yes, I'm David Whitaker. I'm the director for the Division of Local Government. I'm here to talk about the sheriff's fees.
Okay. The next one in just a sec. Are you also for?
Yes, I'm Tina Howard. I am the Executive Director over Office of Administrative Services for the Finance Cabinet.
Okay, great. Thank you, Tina. So we're going to ask you just a few questions. We'll start with Ms. Hancock, Representative Hancock.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Baker, I have a few questions on the generators. How many generators will be replaced for that $7.5 million request?
Well, again, the $7.5 million is the pool to both do the full evaluation of all and to engineer the ones that may need to be enhanced.
Okay.
So once we've done the evaluation, determine ones that are critical for failure, then those would be the ones prioritized and replaced. But this is really to do the initial study, to look at all 26 that we have, to do that determination on which one of those buildings provide critical services that would need to be enhanced.
Okay.
We design those and then do the resulting replacement. So really at this point, until that's done,
We won't
the
know the-
exact number that would be replaced won't be known.
Do you know the approximate per unit replacement cost?
Well, it really varies. The generators are all different sizes, depending on the building size and building capacity needs. So, I mean, as I look down, I haven't had the list with me of all of our generator sizes, and these vary from ones that would be just a little bit bigger than what you'd have for your house, to generators that are close to a half a megawatt that are serving like the central lab complex and are serving the CHR complex and are serving this complex, for instance. So it really varies tremendously in size.
So the $7.5 million is going to be the equipment, the installation labor. That's all. This is. Will you have to come back and ask for more? How much is the study going to cost? Do you have an idea of what that evaluation?
The study and evaluation on the front side will probably run somewhere between $500,000 and $750,000, and then based on that, we would begin life cycle replacement. So that's what we're trying to do, is get ourselves on a life cycle schedule, so that as we do future budget requests, we know, okay, these two are up next, and those kind of, we did this same thing a few years ago with our chillers and our boilers. So critical pieces of equipment we're addressing on life cycle replacements.
Okay, Mr. Chair, can I go ahead and follow up?
Please, yes, if you
So
would.
the one of the questions I had is what specific buildings. You don't really know that yet because you've not done the evaluation.
No.
When do you think that evaluation will be completed?
It will probably take 6 to 9 months once funded and in operation to do the full study. And again, just because this generator's 18 years old and that one's 10 years old doesn't necessarily create that prioritization, because there's runtime hours.
Sure.
So we have to look at that as well, and then overall capacity demand on those particular generators. That's why we really got to do that full study on the front end to make sure we're making wise decisions.
Are you prioritizing the buildings by what you think would be a critical need first when you're doing the evaluations? I mean, do you have an idea of what would be critical at this point?
Yes, I mean, obviously, by the services provided in the building
Okay.
would create that critical nature, and then the study itself would cover all 26, of course.
Okay, and I think one last question. If I'm looking at my questions, I feel like we got the answers. What the manufactured stated useful life versus the actual life, you kind of explained the runtime. You're going to have all that for us when the report comes out, like specifically the units and everything like that, or?
Yeah, the study will break it down to that level of detail and beyond, actually.
Okay, I think that's all my questions.
Awesome. Representative Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Scott, I want to thank you. When we come up here, it's cool in the summer and it's warm in the winter. So I want to thank you for what.
There's
Yeah.
a huge team that does that.
Something's working, and I've been places that hadn't always been the case. So I do appreciate what you all do. Just 2 or 3 questions here. Have any of the generators failed recently, or is this just preventive replacement?
This is about a preventive schedule, yes.
Okay. What critical life safety systems rely on these generators, like fire suppression, medical equipment, data systems?
So, and that's part of that capacity that we're talking about. Is currently many of our buildings only have capacity for primary life safety, which would be lighting and emergency fire alarm systems and so forth. So they don't have any capacity for continuity of services. So that's one of the big things we want to look at. Many of our buildings currently only do emergency egress lighting and fire alarm systems. So that's a primary need. That's a code required need that they would have. But we feel as though because of what these buildings provide to the Commonwealth, we need to enhance that, and that's really what we're looking. Part of what we're looking at.
So does that mean larger generators?
Yes, sir. And additional transfer switching and so forth. The infrastructure behind that generator to make it reach out to the building, because code requires certain emergency stuff to be on a certain panel, and then these additional things that we need for continuity of services would have to be serviced through separate panel from the same generator because
So
code
all of
separation.
that will be in this evaluation that will be,
Each building's evaluation, right?
Okay.
Those enhancements would all be undertaken in that study. That's why the study cost is where it lays, is because
that makes a little more sense now than just saying, looking at a generator and saying,
Right.
you know, it needs replacing or not. I thought, well, that 500, 750, that's a little expensive, but
it's got to. We've got to evaluate the total enhancement of the building and what would be involved in doing
Okay.
that. So
Okay.
that's where it gets kind of crazy.
okay. One more, Mr. Chairman, if that's okay. What is the expected useful life of the new generators? Is there a formal asset life cycle replacement schedule in place? And I think you answered that by wanting to get to one of those.
Right.
Can you estimate what the life cycle of one of these are? I guess depends on the capacity and
And it depends on, again, it's about run hours a lot of times. I mean, I can speak to years ago generators at some of our medical facilities, our psych hospitals and stuff, sometimes lasting 25 and 30 years, whereas at another psych hospital, they were life cycled out at 15 years. And it becomes about life cycle run hours at that time. If the utility company's infrastructure is strong, and so you're not using the generator as often, obviously the life cycle of the generator is longer. So those are factors that typically 15 to 20 years on generator systems. But again, it really depends on the run hours. If it's in a spot where we're losing power often and it's having to run more often, then that lessens the life cycle, obviously.
it's kind of like a car. If you drive from Bowling Green to Frankfurt 2 or 3 times a week, or if you just drive around Bowling Green, you're going to put a lot more miles on it coming to Frankfurt.
Same thing, exactly.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. I just want to finish up with one question. So, budget being the next biennial years, is there a possibility we can try to maybe help get funding for the study perk? Do you think our generators would make it another year or so if we try to the $7.5 million? If we got you closer to $1 million, $1.5 million, could you make that work and try to get the study going, and we could try to fund the other things later?
That would provide the evaluation. The issue there would be if we find critical, catastrophic failure that results from that study.
Okay.
That would be the downside. And again, I think that's part of the reason why in the governor's budget we had this all under that larger
pool,
so that we could do that initial evaluation out of that pool and then make the wise choices that need to be made of whether this one needs to be replaced or not, and other systems that are covered under that total pool.
Gotcha.
So again, that's
Okay.
that's kind of the reason the approach of the governor's budget probably applied.
Okay. Well, thank you, sir. You're welcome to stay at the table with these fine individuals, or
I'll leave them to their details.
let them talk about
That's
sheriffs.
okay.
Then. Okay.
Thank
Well,
you
we
all very much.
appreciate it, and y'all have already introduced yourselves. So if y'all would, some of these topics when we get them as a request, they're a little vague. So if you could kind of go into a little bit more detail, and then we might have a few questions for you.
Okay, what I'd like to begin with, if you don't mind, is
Can you
to
pull that mic a little, or bend it towards you, or pull it towards you a little bit?
Okay.
That
I would
works.
like to begin by giving you a brief overview, very brief, of what our division does and how we serve the 120 county sheriffs in the Commonwealth. And when I get that overview, then Tina will address the additional budget request that has come up. But a lot of people don't understand our division very much, so I thought I would just kind of brag on our folks a little bit and give you a little information on that. KRS Chapter 64 requires local governments to be reimbursed monthly fee claims. These are administered by the Controller's Office, which my division is under. And each type of fee is audited for payment per regulation. KRS 64090 outlines each type of those payments that are sheriff's fees. There are 8. There's a felony arrest in county. There's a felony arrest fees. If an officer or sheriff goes and arrests someone, they get a fee for that. There's a fee for conveying a felony prisoner from one county to another. There's a fee for summoning witness to the Commonwealth in a felony case, or for the Commonwealth in a felony case. There's fee for summoning grand and petit jurors. There's attending a jury in a felony fee if they have to stand in a sequestered juror. There's the Sheriff's Monthly Court Service claim. That claim is the court security officers that are stationed in all of the judicial centers around the state to protect the courts. And there's also conveying prisoners to penitentiaries that the sheriffs will do. The court security, by far, it's over 90% of our fees are paid from our budget go to the court security claims. KRS 64092 outlines the court security compensation for providing those services. And per House Bill 6 in 24-26 budget, the sheriffs are reimbursed $15 per hour for the service to a circuit or district court. And in order for them to get that 15 hours, they have to ensure that the deputy or court security officer that is attending the court or checking your bags when you go in are paid at least $10 of that. And some are paid more, some are paid less, or not less than the 10, but they put that in. And the way that started, 64092 was codified in August of 2002, and in the statute, it set the hourly rate that they would be reimbursed at $8 per hour. And since that time, through budget requests, it was raised to $9 an hour until 2022, and then a $15 per hour started in 22, and it continued at the 15-hour rate the last budget, with the caveat that $10 of that has to go to the actual officer that is serving them. And that's what I have for the history of what our division does with the sheriff fee claims. With that, Tina, as our budget person, can get with you on exactly what our increase is for.
So there's an ABR, it's a growth request for $3.5 million. And that was to bring the spending level of what was projected. So currently, they have a $20.5 million is their base, and their expenditures run $23 million plus. So the $3.5 million was to go on and include that in their base in 27 and 28. However, their spending is a mandatory expense reimbursement. So if there's not enough in the budget for the reimbursement, then we'll go through the NGE process.
Great. Well, we have a few questions there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You mentioned the budget request, the $3.5 million is labeled in the request as growth.
That's correct.
And you kind of explained that. Yet it does reflect the historical average NGE amount of $3.5 million. So what exactly is growing?
Well, it's just to maintain current services. So growth in the instructions is to maintain current services. To do exactly what I want to do today, that's what I need. So their 24 and 25 levels were 23 million plus. So in order, we're projecting 26 to be the same. And in the current budget, in House Bill 6, which we're currently under, we have the authority to reimburse through the NGE process.
So would you say that currently that this is a structural underfunding in the base of your budget?
It just gets it to their level of spending that they are projected to spend.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about the what factors are driving this need for an additional 3.5 million? Is it increased process volume? Is it fee increases, inflation? What is driving the 3.5?
Speak on that just
Yes,
a
sir.
touch. It is totally dependent upon the courts. When there's courts, there are expenses and these fees to be reimbursed. Back during the COVID years, it was way down because there weren't courts. But our work directly derives from what the court system does, and they direct the sheriffs to do the work. They do the work, and then we do the reimbursement. So
So do you see an increase in volume in the courts, or does that remain pretty steady?
according to our past two budgets, it's remained fairly steady, but we've had to do the NGE process to bring those funds up. So that's what we're trying to do, is just to stop from having to do that.
Okay. So you mentioned the statute kind of going back to the court workers and court security pay. It started out as $8 an hour, as you mentioned. So as I understand you correctly, currently, as of 2022, that's $15 an hour?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how many total reimbursable hours were claimed in 24 and 25?
I do not have that number on me. We can get that for you.
So in this, in terms of every county, are all 120 counties submitting claims, or are there
Yes.
certain counties that are just really driving that number up?
Of course, the larger the county, the bigger the claims,
Yeah.
but all 120 we process every month.
So do you see that the number of reimbursable hours are going up, or have those also remained pretty steady?
Those have been steady.
Okay. So last question, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind. So if the $3.5 million is not approved in the budget, would you go back, rely again on the NGE process? Would that come from the general fund surplus? Kind of describe where that's going to come from if this is not approved.
That is correct.
Okay, It will.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Wow, I think you caught most of the ones that let's see. I had just a couple more questions, and we'll get you out of here. What review and verification controls are in place before reimbursements are processed by the Office of the Comptroller? So,
All the information comes in from each sheriff's office monthly on a form that is signed off by the sheriff, and for the court services is signed off by the judge of the court that the sheriffs are attending, and by the chief circuit judge of the county for those payments to be processed.
okay, great. Are those reimbursements audited or subject to post-payment review? You just pay the bills.
That's correct.
Gotcha. So what metrics does the cabinet use to evaluate the cost containment in this program? Well, you could really, I guess, it comes, yeah.
Yeah, there's really, we don't have any way to contain the costs. I mean, everything we do is by statute. Rates are set. So it's, we can't, if they turn in something that's incorrect, we of course say, no, you've claimed too much for this or that. But other than we don't set the rules for what they get, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Gotcha. Okay. A little different there. And the last one was, do you feel like they should stay pretty flat over until 28? I mean, of course, you have no idea, but from what you've seen, I guess they've been relatively flat, and so this
Well,
should
I'm
help.
working with Tina's office. That's
You're noticing it.
where this number came from.
Great.
That's what we're hoping
Okay.
for.
We had a lot of questions for you, so apologize there, but that's what we're here for, is try to get as much information during this budget cycle as we can. We appreciate both of y'all for being here, and any other members have any other questions? I can't imagine what else we can ask, but y'all were very thorough. And I just saw one of my magistrates step in there, Russ Guffey, in the back corner. So it's nice to have some local visitors. We kind of get lonely up here at times. So we appreciate the audience for being here. And thank you so much. And we stand adjourned.